Hello there, how are ya? And welcome to How I Did It. This week's project is putting this 110 mini split into my son's gaming studio room. Now, the cool part about this mini split, it's different than other splits that I've done in the past. This is not hardwired. You plug it right into a wall outlet, so there's no need for an electrician. Alrighty, so as you remember, this is the track lighting that we did last week on his room. So move the light out of the way because it's going to go up there on that wall. There's the plug. This thing is just amazing. So you remove this bracket and then you go ahead and get your measurements on the wall. During transit, simple screw that holds that bracket in place. It also clicks into place. So what I'm doing here is finding my studs. I want to make sure I at least have a couple of studs to tie that bracket into. As you can see, the unit really is not crazy heavy. I don't know the weight. I would say no more than 10 pounds for this inside unit, maybe 15 tops. But it was easy enough for me to actually handle it, maneuver it, as you'll see in a few of the videos that go a little bit further. Now, part of the key when you get this thing mounted, it has to have clearance. I'm doing a side discharge, so the hole is going to have to be cut to the left of me to have the copper lines going through, the power source going to the outside unit, and the drain as well. So I'm just getting this bracket set up. The other thing that's key, just like if you have like a window AC, make sure that the drain is going out and not coming back in. So you'll see once I get this installed, it has the ever so slight pitch going towards the left or towards the wall that we're going to drill through to send the two copper pipes, the electrical line, and the drain line. Now, what made this project the most difficult for me? His computer was right below where I was working, and his desk. Now, it wouldn't have been such a big deal, but his desk is glass top. So, yeah, there was a little bit of a pucker factor there to make sure you didn't drop anything on that thing, breaking the desk, or potentially breaking the desk and then go smashing into his expensive gaming computer. Oh my goodness. Overall, this is really amazing at how easy they have made these mini splits. In the past, you would have to have a dedicated electrical circuit with a 30 amp quick disconnect outside, and that is a thing of the past, or at least it is with the 110 units. So this is going to go towards the wall side where I'm going to be drilling it out. So I have to remove this out of the way, and that's where all of the plugs, wires, copper pipes, and whatnot will go through. And now basically just unpacking it, taking the shrink wrap and whatnot off of it. The other thing with this 110 mini split, I am just a huge advocate for it. Here in Florida, we get so many hurricanes. So after a hurricane, this mini split being 110 will run off of our generator that I set up to actually backfeed his house, and I have the same setup on my mom's house. And obviously this is the same setup that I'm intending on putting in out at the off-grid barn. This unit was actually designated for the off-grid barn, and then when he started his gaming console services for They call it Twitch. I'll have to put the information in the description below. Anyway, what it is, basically, parents that want to know what games that their kids are playing and whatnot, he will go in, test the games, see what age appropriateness that they are, and then offer the parents any insight, maybe how to even play the game with their children. Alrighty, so the flap of this inside unit flips up. You can see the two washable filters there on the left. So you're going to unplug it, you're going to undo the cap, and then there is a wire clamp, like secure to hold the wire in place. Pull that out. Now I found that it was easier on this pigtail to wrap the wires around themselves. That way you could feed it up through and then grab it from the other side. Go ahead and pull it up through, and now you're just about ready to start attaching it. Now the nice thing is the outside unit has everything color coordinated and marked to the numbers. Now here's a still shot of it. It's very specific. The inside unit has to match the outside unit. So just so I wouldn't monkey it up, I labeled everything with blue painter's tape prior to even going in here to assemble it. But you can see they have plenty of labels. I want to say it's idiot proof, but I'm not going to do that because I can be an idiot sometimes. That's why I label everything with blue painter's tape. And then it's just a matter of a Phillips head screwdriver and going ahead and getting these attached in. Now a couple of them, the little fork attachment had I don't know, widened out or whatever, so just to make it easy enough to slide underneath the terminal, just gave it a quick little pinch with the needle nose pliers and tighten it down with the screwdriver. Now make sure you don't over tighten this. You can over tighten this, and this is just plastic. This is something inexpensively made in China, and the hardest screw to get reattached in there is the number 3, which is the ground. The reason I say that is it wasn't a fork, it was the round connector, so you had to take that number 3 screw all the way out. So if you did not have a magnetic Phillips tip on there, yeah, that thing could have been a potential little bugger. So magnetic Phillips screwdriver will be your best friend when it comes to this. Now once you have all of these in here, and again, you know, secured down, you're going to put that wire, I don't know what that thing's called, the wire holder thingy back on there. Again, Phillips screwdriver. Make sure that you have the magnetic tip. It will be your buddy, your pal, like no tomorrow. Now this video, at this point, y'all are like, come on Diana, move through this, move through this. Just know the reason that I'm showing each individual step, once you do your first one, you'll be good to go. But this gives all the little hidden nuances that all the stuff that I looked up did not give. So basically, be prepared to take your time. The first day, I connected the pigtail to the inside unit and labeled it. Got the bracket hung and then temporarily set the unit in place. The second day I came back, I drilled the hole, sent the pipes, the other pigtail and whatnot through the wall, and got it connected to the outside unit. And then the third day was me vacuuming the system down and doing a test run. Yeah, see how, now mind you, there's a desk. There's a 2-foot desk that I'm reaching that out in front of me and hanging it up on that bracket. That's why I think it only weighed about 10 or 15 pounds. Part of why I'm sitting it up here is to go ahead and get my mark where I pop that plastic piece out and where everything's running there. Right there in that corner is where I want to drill through. It's a 3-inch hole saw, and that will allow everything to feed through there perfectly. Now, going through this side wasn't a problem. And then going at a slight angle so everything goes out and down is perfect, right? No, not so much. So I clip part of the stud. Uh-oh. See, right there. So then I was like, okay, what in the world's going on? Pull it out and take a look. And it was like, bummer. So let me drill a pilot all the way through to the outside, and I'll just attack it from the other side, right? No problem. Well, here's the little problem. The outside of the house is stucco, and I only had a hole saw for wood. So as you can hear, it was struggling, and I basically wore out my, well, that was a 3.5-inch hole saw. A 3-inch hole saw is more than sufficient. You can see it wore the teeth right off of it. So between the stucco and the wire mesh that was underneath it. But at least by having that out of the way, I went ahead and cut the wire mesh out of the way. Took a smaller hole saw and drilled a hole in there, so I could actually get my Sawzall in there and then just cut the space the rest of the way so that those two pipes, the electrical line and the condensation line, could all go through. Now I started out here, dork me, big old blade. There was no reason for me to have that big old giant blade on there. So as you'll see here in like just a couple of minutes, I got smart and I went and put one of my shorter blades on there. The other thing that was nice was it was more narrow, so it worked a little bit more efficiently. And that's just giving you a look of it at the other direction. But it ended up working out pretty good. So if I had had the 3-inch hole saw, I wouldn't have cut my stud there to the right. Yeah, learning curve. Like I said, 3-inch hole saw is more than sufficient. Now, the only problem that I've seen with these 110 minis, that extension cord or the electrical cord on it is really not that long. So if your plug's all the way down at the floor, it's not going to be long enough to reach it. In my case, I didn't want it swagging on the wall right there. It would have reached the outlet that we're planning on using. So I opted to run it behind with the black electrical communications plug, cord, whatever you want to call it for this, and the copper pipes and the drain pipe. I could have disconnected the whole thing and then bought a longer cord, and I just said, no, you know what, let's just rethink this. So I ended up buying a 3-foot heavy-duty extension cord to plug onto the end of that and then to plug into the wall, and you'll see that in a bit as well. Okay, now these copper pipes are going to come to you coiled up. Take care, straighten them out easy. I ended up, as I was straightening it out, I put one end through the hole that I had drilled in the wall, and as you saw, the other was left there in his studio to allow me access of it to connect it to the back of the inside. We'll call this the air handler. So on the inside unit, there's a cap, and when you release that cap, know that the system is under pressure. So you're going to hear that pressure relieve as soon as you take this cap off it. There you go. So now what I'm putting on here is the blue nylog. You want to put a real light bead around the male side, right on the tip, and then a real light bead around the flare on the female side. And then you're going to connect these together. A lot of people use Teflon tape, several other products. The Nylon Blue was specifically recommended to use. This is for the 410 Freon. The R22 and the other Freons take a different type of nylon. So Nylon Blue, you're going to put it on. Remember, guys, this is copper. It is so soft. Make sure that you do not over tighten it. So once you get it to where, I mean, it's tightened down, I gave it one extra little oomph, and that was it. But I'm telling you, it's snug. It was tightened down on their hand, and then a couple of turns with the wrench, and that was it. Once I got that, I want to say the high side, it's the narrow one. I don't know. I might be wrong. But once I got that line done, I uncoiled the second line the same way. I put the end through the hole, going to the outside, and I was uncoiling the rest of it here on the inside so that I could go ahead and make that second attachment to this. Now, I know this video is getting kind of long, but I just think it's important that I show y'all what I went through to get this in. The first one, again, is going to be your learning curve. You know, so learn from my mistakes or my examples of what to do, what not to do, and then go from there with it. There's a lot of areas that you can just obviously zip on by, because I'm anticipating this video being 20-25 minutes. I'm guessing. Now, mind you, to get this thing completely assembled, the bracket hung, the copper pipes fed through, and I said that I was going to do the pipes and the vacuuming on another video, but I think I've opted to just go ahead all the way through to connect the pipes into the outside unit, including the electrical. The logic behind that is the vacuuming of the system down is a whole nother set of learning curve for me. The other thing is, I intend to, like I said, install these 110 units in out at the off-grid barn. That way the solar can run them. And this will be my reference guide to remind me, do this, don't do that, yada yada yada. Again, here I'm using the Nylon Blue, and it's going to show y'all a close-up on what these look like. So you have the male end that's threaded, the female end which is flared. That nylon goes on the tip of the male and on the flare of the female side, not on the threads, and then you simply thread it on hand tight, and then using your double wrench set, tighten it down, and then again, you know, 1/8 to maybe 1/4 at the most turn is what I ended up doing. Again, it's a feel, and because this doesn't go straight through the back of the wall and out, the connections are behind this inside air handler. So if I don't have this done the right way and I have a leak, I've actually got to disassemble the entire system to access the back side of the inside air handler. So I could have drilled a hole out the wall behind it. So where that 90 degrees at right there, I could have just went straight out, you know, straightened those pipes out, went straight out through the wall, and then wrapped the actual copper pipe around the outside. But I'm setting this up that when the hurricane comes, this system is going to be shielded by 2 complete walls on the porch. And then it will actually be screwed into the porch or lagged down into the porch. None of that is going to be in this video. That'll be a video potentially for later on. This video is just straight up connecting the copper pipes to the inside unit, feeding it through the hole that I put in the wall outside, getting them bent. And I didn't show footage of me manipulating and bending these pipes. That's going to be however you decide you're going to direct your unit. If you decide to go with this mini split, you know, just know you got to be really careful. Don't make a hard 90-degree bend. You know, make it slow and easy so you don't kink these copper pipes. So here I'm just feeding the service wire to the outside. Now, a lot of people will wrap electrical tape or whatever around the wire and around these copper pipes. Oops, I opted not to do it. And then I had that. So then I have to run outside because I'm doing this by myself. Typically you have a second set of hands. They're outside feeding the wires outside, feeding the copper pipes outside as you go. The thing I decided to do when I went back inside was I used the wire ties that were holding the wire, service wire, black service wire there, and put it around the wire and the copper pipes. That way it would kind of hold them together. Again, if I had my electrical tape here, I would have used that, but that was out at the off-grid barn, so this will work. Now when you put this thing up on the bracket, it specifically has like 2 little receiving points on it. Kind of tip it up, slide it down on those receiving points. It'll catch the bracket, and then it just snaps down over the bottom into place. And it'll take a little bit of maneuvering and whatnot, but it really is fairly easy to do. Yeah, don't fall, right? So here I'm just double checking to make sure that it has the ever so slight flow to go out the hole.
Lines here. Water line's gonna have to condensate. Sorry guys, I got distracted. I started bending it. You gotta make sure you don't pinch your lines right here. But you can see, Stella, are you getting lizards? Where's it at? Show me the lizard. Show me. Is it right there? We'll get that lizard.
She does love dead
Go
liver.
on, get it,
lizard
Bastion.
hood.
Get it, Gracie girl. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. Watch him. Watch him. Watch him. Oh, I see him. I see him. Watch him. I know. All right. Let's get back to work.
Okay, so as I said, I'm not going to bore y'all with how I bent or manipulated these lines. Just know, whatever you do, do not kink them. They cannot have a hard bend. And then simply put the nylon blue on the male and the female sides, not on the thread, and go ahead and attach them. Now, I don't think I would leave the air handler or the main outside unit without it being connected, only because the moisture, the bugs, any of the other things that could get on the inside of the line sets that contaminate them. Because I don't know if you noticed when I did open the line sets up, they all had specific plastic plugs in it to keep them from being contaminated. Alright, and then we just have the outside electrical, and it's the same as the inside. Remember I said to keep it Diana proof, I opted to use Sharpies and the little blue painter's tape and mark all of my connectors. That way, once I connected it up here, it was simply 1 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3, and so on. Now, as you can see, it is now dark, so I opted to get it all the way to this point, and then I came back the next day, which is today, and I actually vacuumed it down. Alrighty then, that's it for episode 1 of the 2-part on installing a mini split. I want to thank y'all for stopping by. Have an absolutely wonderful and blessed day.